Good morning. Hi, everybody. This is Danielle with Thrive. We are at our Valley Mount Sinai general pediatric practice this morning, and we kind of are switching things up a little bit. We're kind of going to give you a really brief tour before our physician, Dr. Shah, gets started talking to us about hydration and keeping our kids hydrated this summer. So we are in our Montvale facility. It's our general pediatric practice, and let's go find Dr. Shah. Let's see if I can swing us around. Look at this beautiful facility. Oh my goodness, this beautiful spot. We are so excited about the general pediatrics practice. This is kind of funny me walking around with you guys, but I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that I'm here with our peds practice. So Dr. Shah is our newest physician, our newest pediatrician, and she's incredible. So we're going to come find her right now and interact with us during this video. Introduce yourself, say hi, ask us questions if you have them, and you'll get entered into a chance to win a Thrive water bottle and things like that. But without further ado, we have found Dr. Shah. Here she is.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's my pleasure to speak to you guys this morning. All right, we're good. I know Danielle will give you guys a little tour of our clinic here. So yes, I did want to speak a little bit, given that we have the heat wave coming up soon, just wanting to be mindful about what tips and tricks we have, how to stay hydrated, how to stay healthy, and some summer safety ideas. So the most common, one of the few important questions or common questions that I get asked often is, what do you do for hydration, for drinking, and what do you recommend? So my answer is always water, water, water. Water is the most important and the best resource you can have to stay hydrated. It doesn't have any sugar. There is no other added contents, no other concerns for that. So there you could make fun things in case kids sometimes get bored of drinking just plain water. You could make flavored water or fruit infused water. Just to make it fun, you can have different colors as well. You put in some watermelon and let it soak, or mint leaves and a lime, things like that. But water is always the go-to for hydration. Some questions that we do get is, would you recommend with juices and sports drinks, energy drinks, things like that? So the problem with a lot of these drinks is that it has a high sugar content, and the sugar content tends to sometimes get you dehydrated, which is counterintuitive, but the excess of sugar makes you end up pee a lot more often too. So, and the sports drinks that were made were really created for athletes who are doing very strenuous activities, running marathons, things like that, where they're losing a lot of electrolytes from their body, which requires it to be replenished by way of these sports energy drinks. Now, the other question in pediatrics you get is how much water, right? Because every age is different. So a good rule of thumb is to have 8 ounces, like 1 8-ounce cup of water for every year of life. So for example, if you have a 4-year-old, they should drink at least 4 8-ounce cups in a day up to the age of 8, meaning 8-year-olds and older should have at least 8 8-ounce cups of water. So if it's a 10-year-old, they should be drinking 8 8-ounce glasses of water. Now, if you think about it, the number 8 sometimes sounds big, but an 8-ounce cup isn't really that big. It's pretty doable, and this is through the course of the day. Another way to know is how well you're hydrated or not is taking a look at the color of your urine. Your urine, you want your pee to be sort of the color that goes in should be the color that comes out. So it should be light yellow, pale colored. So once the kids are a little bit older, I always encourage them, like, take a look at your toilet bowl once you're done. Take a look. If it is anything darker, something like apple juice or any darker, then you know you're getting dehydrated. It's time to start drinking more water. So that's a little bit about hydration and keeping, well hydrated. Fruits. Some of these fruits, like watermelon, these fruits have, again, a very high water content too. So that's another alternative substitute and a fun way to mix things along. I will talk a little bit about signs of heat illness and heat exhaustion, just given that we have heat advisory for our area coming up soon. So you want to try and keep the child, no matter the age, so sort of keep them indoors if possible between the hours of 10 to 4 when the activity is at its peak. Try and keep them in loose, full sleeved clothing if they're out in the heat. So, like cotton clothes, things like that for sun safety. And if they're going to be out and about at the beach or something like that, you could select for clothes that have it's marked as UPF, which is your ultraviolet protection factor. So you have UPF clothing, which can help you protect the skin. Hats are very important. They come in all different types of colors. It's hard to keep it on their head a lot of times, but hats is a good way to keep your, keep cool and keep your body kind of healthy. Try and find a shady spot. It could be a stroller canopy, underneath a tree, underneath an umbrella, but have a shady spot where you can sort of, take a break, rest for a little bit, and then go back out into the sun. And at the same time, having your sunscreen on. Super, super, super important. Any sunscreen is better than no sunscreen at all. I know there are a whole bunch of different options out there in the market. You could make sure that it is a broad spectrum sunscreen, because a broad spectrum will now help you cover both the ultraviolet A, the UVA rays, and the ultraviolet B, the UVB rays of the sun. A lot of times we forget the areas right above the ear, the hairline, nape of neck. Make sure you're applying sunscreen in all those areas too. Aim to apply the sunscreen about 15, 20 minutes prior to leaving the house, because it takes some time to sort of act, get absorbed. And you want to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. That is also something we tend to forget or miss out on. To maintain continued protection, you need to reapply every 2 hours. Or if you're at the beach or at the pool, you go swimming and you come out and you towel off, you want to reapply sunscreen, because sometimes it gets washed off that way. I did want to speak a little bit more about the signs of heat illness or heat. If you find your child is complaining that they have a headache, there's more sweating, they feel warmer than usual, their skin feels very cool and clammy, they're complaining of muscle cramps, they're tired, you want to make sure you bring them into the shade right away. If they're awake and they can, start giving them a few sips of water. Just good old water, start having them to drink. If possible, lay them down with their legs up. That just sort of helps with circulation a little bit. And if needed, you could reach out for emergency medical services, but keeping them hydrated, again, would be very, very important. I do want to pause here and see if there are any questions or concerns. I'm going to reach out to Danielle as well to see if there have been questions that have come up. All righty, I'll be right here. Danielle, do we have questions?
We do.
Awesome.
Oh my goodness. We have some awesome questions.
All right.
So our first question is, sorry, I'm trying to stand up. For eczema in toddlers, is water more important or less important?
So water in terms to drink, yes, definitely more important. You want to keep the skin hydrated and moisturized. You want to keep, make sure you use a barrier protection like Aquaphor, Eucerin, any of Vaseline, something to keep the skin kind of well moisturized, because remember, counterintuitively, but water does dehydrate the skin a lot more. So you want to make sure you have a lot of barrier protection on the skin.
Awesome. And then what about, we talked about the color of urine, and I'm like a big, guys, check your pee.
No, it sounds funny, and the kids always laugh. Like, what are you talking about? But
we check our poop too, but we won't get into that. But what about like white or clear pee? Is that too much?
It's not too much. Actually, honestly, that's sort of what you're aiming for. You want it to be light, pale colored. That should be the color. And if you find the child is peeing like every 10 minutes and it's constant, then you want to take a look and see how much water they're drinking. Again, going back to the rule of thumb, which is 8-ounce glass of water per year of life till they are 8 years old.
Okay. And then I have a question. My little guy, he's almost 4. He runs incredibly hot. Like he's we're very Italian. We're very so he's always sweaty, and I feel like we make him drink even more water because he's constantly sweating. And so, is that true? Like, can a kid be running hot because he's always been like this?
It could be. It could be.
Okay.
So the baseline temperature, baseline metabolism of different kids is different. So yes, you do want to individualize this approach and
Okay.
make sure, again, it goes back to how his pee is doing. If he's gone like
Yeah.
6 hours and not peeing, you're like up dehydration
Yes.
even more.
Okay. Awesome. Well, does anybody? I had one more question, but now I forget. I forget it. Does anybody else have any questions? These were some good questions. This was some really good information. Oh my gosh, if I can think of my last question, what was it? Oh, that's it. Can you overhydrate? I feel like the internet for a little while out there was telling us, oh, don't go too crazy with drinking too much water because you're going to give them too much water. Is that real?
There is a thing called as water intoxication.
Okay.
But that happens when you're having like excessive amounts of water. And also sometimes if there is other underlying conditions where your kidneys aren't functioning as well and not peeing and flushing out the water. So you don't want to overwork your kidneys. So again, taking it with a grain of salt is to see, making sure what kind of activities you're doing. If they're in an air-conditioned room in a museum or something all day long, then they're probably not going to need that excessive hydration. But if they're not going to be playing at the beach for the whole day, running around in the sun, then you want to tailor it that way.
Okay.
And important to keep in mind is like, yes, they're going to reach out for the juice and the sugary stuff because it's summer and that's fun, but just balance it out. Okay. Balance it out with high fruit content with fruits with higher water content.
Gotcha. We always dump out half the juice and add water, and they don't even know.
Still, there'll still be that sugar in there.
Yes.
So water.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was incredible. So again, this is our new pediatric practice in Montvale. It's absolutely beautiful here. Reach out to me on the Facebook for information or Google Valley Montvale General Pediatric Practice. We're with Mount Sinai, and they're just incredible here, and they're friendly, and they're warm, and they're fuzzy. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful.
You're so
welcome. Have a great summer. Bye.